Good Sunday morning. I'm Phil Prayson from NBC5.
And I'm Gromer Jeffers, political writer with the Dallas Morning News. Early voting for the November election continues through Friday, October 31st. All Texans have a say on 17 proposed amendments to the Texas Constitution.
Then in North Texas, a competitive race to fill the District 9 state Senate seat formerly held by Senator Kelly Hancock, who resigned in June to become the acting Texas comptroller. The district stretches across Tarrant County and was drawn to favor Republicans. But Democrat Taylor Rehmet hopes to change that. His endorsements include Texas Senators Nathan Johnson and Roland Gutierrez, along with former Senator Wendy Davis. Tarrant County Commissioners Roderick Miles and Alyssa Simmons. His major donations include $10,000 from the Machinist Nonpartisan Political League, $5,000 from Thomas Torres, and $4,000 from Vote Vets. Here's part of our conversation. So why vote for you and not your other two opponents?
Well, Phil, this comes down to, integrity and separating myself from the others, and there's a clear difference. I'm the only candidate in this race that is not funded by a billionaire. And I think that's important because the people that I want to answer to are the people that elect me that live in Senate District 9, not anyone else funding my campaign.
So first day, if elected in the Senate, what are the issues you prioritize? What are some of the bills you file?
Well, the biggest one would be trying to make it so that you can organize easier here in Texas. Organize in a labor union. We need to protect Texas workers in many ways. We need to increase their benefits, their pay, their health care, because these are the bread and butter issues that I feel Texas needs to be a stronger and more robust state. You look at, again, these rising costs of living, and the only thing that can protect against that is real wage increases, because inflation and all these other rising costs, insurance premiums, electric bills, property taxes, these are all really affecting working Texans.
So a lot of workers in the state of Texas probably are not in a labor union. Some probably like it, some probably don't.
Sure.
Some probably want to be in one, but some will probably go, no, that's a whole ball of wax I don't want to be involved in. So how do you deliver stuff for the people who aren't in the unions as well?
So if you're not in a labor union, we could, with a very calculated way, we could increase the minimum wage, which is stuck at $7.25. That's an insult. I mean, let's take Fort Worth, for example. In Fort Worth, it would take $24 an hour to have a one-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment with basic needs to live a dignified life. And, we have people making much less than that. And, I really feel for those people, and I want to make sure that, they're taken care of as well.
I also saw on your website a statewide rent stabilization effort. What would that look like as one of your priorities?
Well, first we would have to look at the rise of property taxes. I mean, we have increased property. We pay some of the highest property taxes of any state. And, if we can control that and reduce that, we should freeze rents just so people can catch up, especially lower income working Texans.
Now, when you say freeze rents, there are going to be some apartment owners that say, hey, I own this apartment building. It's my property. Why can't I decide what rent I want to charge?
If they're making money, that's great. They've had a lot of subsidies, a lot of tax breaks. I would assume that a temporary rent freeze wouldn't bankrupt anybody, and if it does, you had a terrible business model to begin with.
So you just deal with it or make it work is your argument.
Absolutely, because working Texans are having to make it work right now, and that's not fair to them.
One of the big issues that separates your two Republicans' opponent is the issue of whether to expand gambling in the state.
Sure.
Do you have an opinion on that?
I mean, here's the thing. You look at everyone who travels out of our state taking their money to, gamble. If we could keep it in state, in our own state, tax it, regulate it in a very controlled and fair way, and not give any, subsidies or tax breaks to these casinos to build and invest here. If they want to invest in Texas, I would only really want to make sure that they're bringing good union-paying jobs, well-paying jobs, so that Texans can live better here.
So you'd be open to it if they fund the projects themselves and they want to put a hotel, resort, casino in downtown Dallas. That'd be
sure.
You'd be open
again,
for it.
Yes, but with those caveats, absolutely.
This is a Republican district, drawn, kind of designed that way. Why should voters who have been voting Republican their whole life take a chance on you?
That is a great question. Phil, I think that what it really comes down to is it's not about Republican or Democrat. What it comes down to is I want to help represent everyone, no matter what your party affiliation is, no matter how you feel about the party. I'm here to represent anyone who has a job and is feeling the squeeze of this economy. I am going to fight every single day, every way I can, to make sure that they have a better life and a better opportunity, not just for them, but especially for their kids.
Last week, we heard from the two Republicans in this race, former Southlake Mayor John Huffman and conservative activist Lee Wamsgans. We asked each of them how they feel about expanding gambling in the state, one of the key issues, Gromer, in that race.
Yeah.
Here are their answers, along with extended interviews with all the candidates in this race online at nbcdfw.com. Gromer, this race might go to a runoff, and remember, this is just the election to fill out the remaining time in Kelly Hancock's seat. Then they have to do this all over again in the March primary and then the November general election. Tarrant County is going to see a bunch of these guys.
Exactly, and remember the term ends at the end of next year for Kelly Hancock's old term, and it may be a Democratic primary and a Republican primary, so you're going to have a lot of elections focused on this Senate district. And, we saw a little bit of it in the 2024, at least one of the House elections, where there was a special election and then they had to have another primary. It's going to be really interesting when you factor in runoffs, primaries, everything, lots of politics in Tarrant County.